Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a 2024 prediction, and in this prediction I will be doing Joe Biden versus Mike Pence, and Mike Pence is the former vice president under Donald Trump, who is now, after being his vice president, very anti-Trump after the January 6th riot, and he has said that he might run in 2024. Before I get started, I'm just going to try to mostly go straight to the chase on this one. But Mike Pence, I don't think he'll win the primaries. I think that's highly unlikely. Obviously, he's not going to do well with the Trump base. And Mike Pence, I'm going to say this a lot, so get ready. Mike Pence is a very boring. Mike Pence is a very boring individual. He's one of the most boring politicians, maybe, of the whole century. To be honest, he's just so boring, and no one likes him. So, yeah, let's just get right to the chase. Oh, yeah, in this scenario, it has Joe Biden, who's obviously the current president. If you don't know that, why are you watching this? Okay? So, safe states for Biden. These states are going to be over 10 points. Washington, Oregon, California, Colorado, New Mexico. I would say that would be pretty safe. Yeah, those could be likely, but probably most likely not. Hawaii, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, and Maine's was first district, Illinois, and I believe that's all for now. And New York, and also Nebraska second district. Now, and safe states for Mike Pence: Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah. Mike Pence would do well here with more traditional conservatives, in my opinion. Maybe likely there. In Nebraska's first district, safe overall. Kansas probably safe, most likely. Oklahoma, Texas we'll get to later. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina. I forgot Biden would win Virginia by a safe margin. Forgot about that one. West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Mike Pence's home state. Arkansas and Missouri. So these would be the safe states. So the next states, these are going to be less than 10 points. So these are going to be the states that I'm going to call quote-unquote competitive. Some are going to be more competitive than others, but we'll get to that later. So let's start with likely states for Mike Pence and Biden, and now we'll talk more into depth about the states and stuff. So first, let's start with Iowa. Mike Pence is going to do well here. It's obviously a traditional Republican state. Democrat hasn't won it since 2012, and it's pretty unlikely Biden would win. But I think there's like the Trump base in Iowa. I'm going to say this a lot too. The Trump base is not going out for Pence. If Pence wins the nomination, which is highly likely, the Trump base is not going to go out in big polls for him. A lot of the voters that voted, a lot of the key voters that Trump won. The reason why Trump, the voters that make Trump, and the reason he won 2016, and the reason that he's really just even politically a thing still, is the Trump voters. So this includes Iowa. Iowa has a lot of them. But I feel like there are more traditional conservatives, and Mike Pence is still going to do well here. Maybe 6 points for Mike Pence. That may be a hot take. But Chuck Grassley, who is pretty popular in Iowa, only won by less than 20, which was less than 15, which is almost 10, won by 10 or 9. So I do think it would be likely that Mike Pence could win Iowa. But it is Iowa overall. And Biden, when you see Biden's quality, and Iowa will likely not go to Biden. But I do think it would be a likely margin. Next is Ohio. Actually, I'm going to go to Minnesota. Minnesota's next, my home state, if you didn't know that. That is my channel name, Minnesota Predictions. Go subscribe. Minnesota. Probably I'll have to do it at a likely margin. Minnesota obviously has voted Democrat ever since in every single presidential election since 1972, which was obviously a landslide. And it was the only state that went Democratic for Walter Mondale in 1984. And it's going to stick up this time. Mike Pence. Mike Pence might do a little good with some of the suburban Republican voters. But most likely he's not going to change anything. Biden's going to do overall, I would say, pretty good in the suburbs compared to Mike Pence. And this is Minnesota, a pretty Democratic state, and not a lot to say here. Um, yeah, 6 points Biden's made, not 6 points Biden. Oops, oh, I forgot Mike Pence. Oops, Mike Pence would win the first district, or second. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Next, Wisconsin. Wisconsin would be close, but I think it would go to Biden by a tilt margin. Wisconsin is a pretty. Actually, I would have to say lean. Um, Wisconsin's one of the closest states, and I think this would be maybe 1 point or 2 points for Biden. Again, the Trump vote in Wisconsin, which is kind of prominent, won't go out for Pence, and Biden, I think this time will do better in the Wisconsin suburbs this time. And I think Biden overall will do well against Mike Pence, especially to the Rust Belt voters. And this a lot of what I'm going to say here is going to be the same with Michigan and Pennsylvania, and a little bit of Ohio. But Mike Pence has nothing really to appeal to Rust Belt voters. He's really just a boring conservative. That's really all he is. And he's not going to get there's not a lot. He's not really like bring jobs back to America type cool candidate really. He's just Mike Pence. So he's not really going to do that well in my opinion in the Rust Belt. So I think Biden will do well overall. Everything I said for Wisconsin goes the same for Michigan. Michigan is obviously a more Democratic leaning state, voting for Gretchen Whitmer by over 10 points. And Mike Pence would be not, especially Michigan. Michigan is like the most liberal state out of the whole Rust Belt. So, and I highly doubt that Mike Pence is going to do well there. He's going to do honestly terrible. Again, everything I said for Wisconsin, mostly will apply here. Pennsylvania will be lean margin. Pennsylvania, Biden's going to do well in the suburbs here, like in Erie and Scranton. He's going to do well with the numbers there. Maybe, I think on my hot take here, and against Mike Pence, I think he would be able to increase his margin from 2020 in the suburbs. Again, Mike Pence is just a boring conservative, nothing really interesting. Pennsylvania voted for Josh Shapiro by like 16 points, and John Fetterman, who was very interesting, won by 5 points. So, again, everything I said for Michigan and Wisconsin also can apply here, but I do think that Biden will do well in the Philadelphia suburbs, Erie, and Scranton, especially against Mike Pence. So I'm going to have to put that lean. Okay, next is... Sorry. New Hampshire. Okay, so New Hampshire, now Biden will be affirmed a winner. I think that was expected. Penalty margin. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's do likely margin. Mike Pence, honestly, might not do that terrible in New Hampshire, but he will at the same time. Again, the Trump base in New Hampshire is not big, but it's actually a good amount for Trump to make it somewhat close, actually, in my personal opinion. Could help him. That's going to be gone. And New Hampshire's a very liberal state. Maggie Hassan won by like 9 points in 2022. And Biden's not the most unpopular person there. So I will have to put that likely. But yeah, Biden would be president by now. Now we are going to go to the great state of Ohio. Ohio is a Rust Belt state just like these, but I feel like, again, this might be a little hot take, but I think maybe Ohio will beat lean margin. Trump won Ohio twice by 8 points. And I think the Trump voters in Ohio is probably, maybe, it might be a little, it's like only likely margin in my opinion because of Trump. And Mike Pence, who's an anti-Trump Republican now, he's not, and a boring conservative, he's not going to get the Trump vote out, and that's going to hurt him drastically in Ohio. He's still going to win it. It is a pretty overall Republican conservative state, but I do think Biden's going to do well with Rust Belt voters, going to do well in the suburbs, but Mike Pence will be able to win this. But it's just Ohio, and Tim Ryan won by 6. So if Biden doesn't have really a great... If Biden does a good job campaigning, he could make this like maybe 4 points for Pence. But this is Ohio. But the Trump vote is going to be big loss in Ohio, particularly, and it even could be closer. Will Biden win this against Mike Pence? It's not very likely. I mean, there is a very small possibility that could happen, but right now I find it very unlikely. But now we have all the swing states in the upper part of there all done, and I need to get a drink really quick. Okay, and now I'm back. Now we're going to the south, way down south in the train. Oops. What happened? What did I do? Did something. What was it? Oh, dang it. Oh yeah, here. Okay. Back to what I was doing. North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. I'll dig it out later. North Carolina and Georgia. Mike Pence is going to do terrible with the minority vote. The best thing, if Mike Pence wants to appeal to the minority vote in 2024, if he does win the nomination, which again is highly unlikely, the best thing for him, because he's Mike Pence, if he can't, he can't win white Rust Belt voters. He's not going to shift the minority vote to him a little slightly. It's not going to happen. The best, maybe Tim Scott's running mate overall. That could help him a little bit. Probably not, though. It's not going to help him drastically. And Tim Scott video will be coming out soon. So come out watch for that. But, overall, he's not going to do well in these states. It's time for hot takes. Hottest take of this whole election map. North Carolina, by a very small margin, will go to Biden. I think this will be the time North Carolina is going to flip. Number one, Mike Pence. North Carolina has a lot more traditional conservatives. He's going to lose Trump base. North Carolina Trump base, not huge, but still, he's going to lose like a couple of votes, obviously. But Biden, I think, is going to do pretty good with the minority vote. If Biden should really, one of the things he should focus on is minority vote turnout, because obviously Democrats are going to win the minority vote. That's obvious. But it depends on how the turnout is. So if Biden plays his cards right, he could really get the minority vote to get out in these areas. And Georgia, obviously the suburbs in Georgia, which I'll get to later, have been shifting humongously to the left. But I do think that it's also happening in North Carolina, but by a more smaller thing. Not as drastic. Not like 40 points plus to Biden in like less than 4 years when it became the Trump district. I find that that's not happening in North Carolina, but it's like slowly moving to the left. And again, Mike Pence is not going to do very well in the area. So that's my hot take on why I think Biden will win North Carolina. And it is kind of a more moderate state. And yeah, Mike Pence is just really boring. Mike Pence is boring. Boring as heck. So, yeah. And now we go to the great state of Georgia. And I will have to put this in lean margin. Okay. This is the Georgia, how much Georgia has changed politically, honestly, is humongously a big deal. It's like a huge deal, actually, in my opinion. But yeah, like I said with North Carolina, the suburbs here, though, drastically changing. Minority vote, especially in Georgia, minority vote in Georgia is highly present. The Atlanta suburbs all going to the left and high turnout in huge numbers. So if Biden plays his cards right, he's gonna win this against Mike Pence. Mike Pence again, his biggest plus here might just be traditional or conservatives, which are pretty present in the South. But overall, he's boring. He's not going to appeal to suburbs like 40, like 4.4. Like, okay, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the minority vote is going to be a plus for Biden. The suburbs, Biden's going to do well. And Mike Pence being boring, he would not do well here. And next is Florida. Okay, we're almost done. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Alaska. Alaska would be pretty safe. Yeah, Republicans are like Mike Pence. He would obviously do well with Mary Peltola voters. Okay, so Florida, likely margin. Florida, I think Trump will do better. I think if this was Trump, I would make Florida safe. But this is Mike Pence, and Mike Pence is like kind of like a between of Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, so I have to put that likely margin. It's likely margin. It's like not really even swing state anymore. The a lot of old people are moving there, and obviously DeSantis won by huge margins. So did Marco Rubio. They won by huge margins, all safe, which was pretty shocking how big they won by. And it's just like a goner for Democrats. And Mike Pence is not going to win this by like, oh, I would say he would win Florida by like 6-7 points. But Biden really, I think he's lost his mark here. The Trump base though, maybe it could make this lean margin maybe for Pence, but Biden's not going to win this. I think likely margin would be appropriate due to the political trends here. Texas. Let me get a sip of my soda really quick. Okay. Texas though. I would say a lean margin. Oops, not lean. Texas is moving to the left. A lot of the youth vote is moving there, and a lot of the minority vote in the urban areas are getting higher turnout, and is also growing. So Democratic voters are growing there, but the Republican voters do ratio the Democratic voters. It was a pretty good year for Republicans in Texas. It was pretty much a landslide for them with Greg Abbott against Beto O'Rourke. But Mike Pence again is boring. He's not going to really appeal to a lot of the Trump base, and he will do well with traditional voters. But I'll have to do this 4-5 points for Mike Pence. Could be likely. But yeah. Next we have Arizona and Nevada. Okay, Arizona Mike Pence won't do terrible in because obviously Arizona is more of a anti-Trump Republican state, even though electing Carrie Lake. But there's not a huge Trump base in Arizona. There actually is a pretty okay Trump base in Arizona. But I don't think it would make Pence lose a lot. But I feel like overall it is moving to left, the Hispanic vote, and a lot of younger voters there too are voting Democratic in big numbers. A lot of Republicans are switching to the Democratic Party. And Biden overall is going to do pretty well in Arizona. So yeah, I will have to put this in probably lean margin 1 or 2 points. Biden. And now, last but not least, we have Nevada. And let me just get one more sip of my drink. Terrific. I'm sick. I'm not what? Okay, I'm back. Nevada, probably lean margin for Biden. Mike Pence, if Republicans want to win Nevada, Mike Pence is a terrible attempt. Mike Pence is not going to win. He's just not going to win Nevada. Nevada is a pretty Democratic state. Catherine Cortez Masto won by 0.9, which was pretty unexpected. For a margin almost a 1 point, almost a lean margin. I was not really expected for Catherine Cortez Masto to win. Or if it was maybe kind of, it could happen that she was going to win. It was actually kind of like near election day. It was kind of like a pretty big possibility. But a lot of people thought overall she wasn't going to win. I thought she was going to win, but not by 0.9 points. And Biden's going to do pretty well in the suburbs. Mike Pence, not going to do really well with the Trump base here again. He's boring. But yeah, Biden's going to get good Hispanic turnout here with okay. I think he would do pretty well margins in the southern part of Nevada too. And yeah, and if they I don't know about ranked choice voting. I did they approve ranked choice voting? I'm not sure. I honestly forgot. But yeah. So, wait, I'm gonna make Pence win there. Okay, there. But this is my final prediction. Overall, Biden would do pretty well. He is an incumbent president, and hopefully he will be a little more popular than he is right now. And Mike Pence is a very boring conservative. He's as boring as he's really he's literally a suburban house as a person. He's just so boring. He's just a boring conservative. He's not going to get the Trump base rallied up. He's not going to get the Trump vote to vote for him at all. One of the problems about the Republican Party is divisiveness, and Mike Pence would not help that at all. And the turnout is another problem for Republicans, and that it's not going to help at all either. So overall, Biden would do actually really well. But yeah, So thank you guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like and comment. I love when people comment. I don't care if it's a MAGA boomer or a wokest. Comment whatever you want, unless if it's racist or something extremely just hateful or whatever. I will take a bit of. But I love when people comment on my videos and I love engaging with them. So please comment. I'm begging you to comment. Please comment. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Yeah, bye.